Hey everybody, welcome to English 101 with David Hancock. I am David Hancock, and in today's video we're going to talk about rare punctuation going off of my notes here. Very detailed notes. I've got nothing on this but a list. Let's see how good my memory is. All right, in today's rare punctuation we're going to talk about the asterisk, then the dagger, which is also called the obelisk or the obelus. Then the double dagger, which is also called the diesis, then the bar, then the other brackets, which are officially called braces, curly brackets, or rarely in the UK, curly men. Then yet another type of bracket called angle brackets. And then a very rare symbol I've never actually seen in use. I've seen referenced in the Chicago Manual of Style, I think is where I saw it, called the per symbol. This symbol is so rare I've never actually found a reference to it online, nor have I ever found a way to type it in Unicode or with a keyboard shortcut. So when I put the symbol up there, it's going to be one that I drew in Illustrator. So at any rate, first off, I'm going to start with the asterisk. If you are, the first three of these symbols, the asterisk, the dagger, and the double dagger, have the same basic use. It's just a matter of order of presentation. If you're reading a paper, generally a chapter from a book, a scholarly paper, sometimes religious texts have these if they aren't doing full chapter footnotes in order. If you're reading along and you have a sentence here and you come along and there's an asterisk, that means there's a footnote with additional information. That's the one job of the asterisk. I guess if you're in the US and you're a baseball player and there's an asterisk after your name, then there's a second job for it. But at any rate, in English usage, the asterisk has that one job to say, here's the sentence you've read it. In English, the asterisk has one job. It is to say, here is the sentence you've read in its entirety or partially. There is this bit of information in the sentence which has greater context. Here's an asterisk. Down at the bottom of the page, here's another one. This content at the bottom of the page after the asterisk provides additional clarification, detail, information, context, backstory, whatever, about what's up here in the paragraph. So when you're reading something and you come across an asterisk, if it's at the end of a sentence, just go down, read the footnote, get some additional understanding. If it's in the middle of a sentence, finish reading the sentence, read the footnote, and then reread the sentence. And that will give you the greatest understanding about how the footnote provides additional information about what's in the sentence. Related to the asterisk is the dagger, or the obelisk, or the obelus. And basically it looks like a small cross. So if you're coming across an asterisk, it's a little small 8-pointed dealie that's smaller than the line and raised a bit. The dagger is about the same size as the asterisk and looks basically like a small letter T just hanging in midair. Does the exact same job as an asterisk. It says there's a footnote down below, but it follows the asterisk. So the double dagger is the second footnote in the same page. So if you have an asterisk and then 3 sentences or the next paragraph, there's a dagger, then you go down to the footnote that corresponds to the dagger and do the exact same thing that I just described with the asterisk about reading the sentence and reading the footnote and then rereading if need be. Related to the dagger is the double dagger or the diesis. And if you've guessed that this does the exact same thing as the previous two but with a third footnote, you're correct. The double dagger indicates a footnote and it's the third footnote on the same page. Go to the next page. If you're using this style of footnoting, then you are starting again with a new asterisk. If there is a symbol for a fourth footnote, I don't know what it is. I suppose, 2 asterisks or 2 double daggers. Actually, 2 double daggers, I think, is the way it goes after that. 2 and then 3 and then 4. I don't think it resets to asterisk. I think it goes with multiple double daggers, but I don't think there is a dedicated typographical symbol for a 4th footnote, because that's an uncommon thing. Footnotes eat up page space, so if you have footnotes and text coming together, you're generally not going to have enough page space to have a 4th footnote. So there, I don't think, is a specific typographical symbol for it. Next up is the bar. Okay, so the bar is not a symbol you are likely to see in running text. What do I mean by running text? Like a paragraph. A bar is a typographic symbol used to space things out. The most common place you're going to see bars are in resume headings and YouTube titles. So if you have your resume and you have your name, phone number, address along the header, okay? If you put your name and then a bar, and then your phone number and then a bar, and then your address, that bar is slightly taller than the line of text. And what it does is it says, here's a division between these bits of information. They're all going to be in the same line, but that bar basically draws a clear division between them because it is so tall. And that's its one job. It takes information in running text and draws a separation. So for instance, on some of my YouTube videos, I'll put a bar to separate pieces of information in the same video that aren't part of the same thought. So if you were to say, here's my video title and here's the date, put a bar between them, and that separates your video title from the date. That's especially useful if you're doing videos with similar or the same title. So if you're, for instance, doing a 3-day-a-week update about something going on in your city, you could say, city name, thing that's happening, update, bar, and then the date the video is released. And that way you could have the same video title for all of them, but a different date to make it easy to reference what date that video was released on. The bar is not something you're likely to see often. It's basically just an organizational tool when information is presented in a line. It's not something you would ever use in a sentence that you're typing or reading. And I would certainly say of everything I have ever read, I have never once seen a bar used in running text. You could use it in a footnote. So in a footnote, when you're writing that out, you could put a bar to separate something from something else. So and a bar is not the only option. You could use a colon as well. Clarification on the above statement, colon, this thing. Or this statement is clarified in this other source, bar, and then source, something like that. There are ways you can use the bar in that regard as well. It's just not something you would use as you're writing the main portion of whatever it is you're writing. Next one we're going on to is the braces. And braces are my preferred term for this typographical format, or this typographical thing, symbol. Basically, if you've seen my previous 2 videos on this subject, we have the parentheses, and then in the second video we had the brackets, and then the braces are your 3rd level of parenthetical notation. They're rare because it's very rare for a sentence to need 3 levels of parenthetical notation. When you get beyond brackets, it's very hard to structure a sentence so that it's easily understood and readable when you have multiple tiers of parenthetical notation. If you need braces, it's very rare. I can think of one time in everything that I've written where I needed braces for a 3rd level of parenthetical notation in an essay. Generally speaking, if you're getting to this point, then what you really need to do is restructure your sentence into multiple sentences. But if you see braces, this is what they are. They're basically the third tier of parentheticals. The next one are collectively called angle brackets. And basically they look like carrots, right? These have one use. They're your fourth tier of parentheses. I have seen angle brackets used in writing. I've never needed to use them. And basically, if you have parentheses, brackets, braces, angle brackets, by the time you get to the fourth tier of parentheticals, you have a very confusing sentence. So that's their job, to be the fourth level of parenthetical notation. It happens. There are times when they're needed. It's really rare, and the better option is to revise your sentences to make them less complex than needing 4 levels of parenthetical notation. So the last piece we're going to talk about here is called the per symbol, and it simply means per. It's a little vertical line there's a few different variations of this symbol, but that's all it means is per. So if you, in the unlikely event that you ever see this symbol, what it's telling you is per. $6 per dozen, $1 per pound. That's what it means. That's what per means. This isn't a symbol that means per my last email. This is a unit of measure, per. So there are 2 ways to use the word per in English. There is, you can buy, like I said, $1 per pound. That means this item, to buy a pound of it, you need $1. If you're writing back to somebody and you're saying, this is done per the authority of my boss, that's a different type of per. The first one is a cost per measure, and the second one is a reference to, or in accordance with. In accordance with the authority of my boss is another way of saying that. So this symbol only relates to unit of measure, per. And that is it. That is the rare punctuation that we have to talk about in this video. Most of this you will never use. Most of this you might, well, then those ones you do, you might only use once or twice a year, or only a handful of times in your life. But it's important to understand what these look like and how they are used, so that in the event that you come across them, you recognize what they are and what they are trying to tell you. Thank you for watching this video. Please give me a thumbs up. That lets me know that I'm on the right track producing content which is useful and helpful to you. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those in the comments section below. I'm pretty good about checking these every couple of days and answering questions. If you have any suggestions or ideas for future videos, and if I have the technical know-how and equipment, I'm more than happy to make those. One last thing. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. I gotta get up, Steinbeck. I have to turn off the camera.